Hey guys, how are you doing?
Doing well, Denny.
Denny, how are you?
Awesome, guys. Awesome. Got another minute or so. Anybody got something going on that's interesting want to talk about? Anybody have any particular experiences this week that you want to role play, share with the group? Yeah, might be a big fat no.
All right, I'll use Thursday's information that we got. Was on a listing appointment yesterday. Lady wants me to tell her what the market is going to look like. Prices are going up, prices are going down. And basically, I just shared with her we can't predict anything, but we know what today is. And today is the day that you need to sign the contract. And she actually did.
She didn't?
She did.
Oh. So,
go ahead.
So, all right. So, what did you learn in that scenario?
Basically, is never to give them a number or predict or a prediction. To basically just work with them on today and what we need to do today and what we need to do right now.
All right. Well, it's 1 o'clock here in Florida. Denny Grimes here, bringing more scripts and strategies to the C19 market. Thank you all for being on the Zoom call with me, or if you're via Facebook Live, you can reach me at coachdennygrimes@gmail.com. And we're going to have a discussion. Is that Mayor? Is that who he was talking?
Yes.
Yeah, so he was just sharing a story. He had a seller that was asking a lot of questions. So you evidently, now let me ask you on a scale of 1 to 10, how did you do with staying in questions versus telling?
Probably a 7. Okay. Got to work on that. Yep.
So I think people are wanting to take listing appointments here now. And if you're in a quiet spot, why don't you be the seller, and I'll just kind of role play this. It'll take a few minutes. So I've got a couple other things that I'm going to share with you, some requests that came in to me directly. And most of the ones I have that I collected are actually potential listing interview questions. And obviously, if you get to the point where you're going to have a listing interview, you want to be able to get the listing. So Mayor, you set this scenario up really quick, and we'll spend about 4 minutes role playing this. And sure. You guys listen and give me some comments either in the chat or in the, if you want to come in and when we're done, what would you have done differently? All right, Mayor, go ahead. You're a seller. Are we at the table?
So Denny would love to list the house. We're really thinking about it. We're serious about getting the house moving. We're moving to Indiana, and we're just not sure if we should hold off a couple more months. We don't know what the value is going to be.
Awesome. So again, following the formula, again, we want to make sure we acknowledge, isolate. So we need to isolate, number one. So I understand. So is that your background noise, Mayor?
No, that's not me. I was muted.
Okay, thanks. So let me ask you, somebody needs to be muted. Find out who that is if you can, Sonny. So let me tell you, moving to Indiana, what's taking you to Indiana?
We're looking to, we're retiring in a couple of years now that we're working from home. I want to be closer to family, want to get back home.
So what am I doing? I'm going to start with, okay, I want to get to his motivation. And I might ask him a couple more questions. How's your wife feel about that, Mayor?
I'm sorry, one more time.
How does your whole family feel about you moving to Indiana?
Oh, they're very excited. Everybody's happy about it. I think we've been away for 20 years, and it's mom and dad are getting old, and we need to be home.
How are you going to feel when you drive up, the moving truck in tow, their house is sold, you got top dollar for it, and now you're starting your new life in Indiana? Tell me what feelings going through your brain, your heart.
There's a lot of excitement, I'm sure. A lot of things have changed, and we're really excited to be home.
Now, again, I'm having to learn. I'm a strong D. You might be a strong D, stepping out of role just for a little bit. you want to get to the point where you hear the little violins playing in the background. And so I know a D, you might not want to go there, you know, all right, so let's, in a C, you might be attempting to figure out the most efficient way to get them there. However, that's important because remember, selling is not what they want to do. They just want to move somewhere and they want to move north, south, east, west, or a particular region. So I understand that sounds awesome, Mayor. So let me ask you, you say you're concerned of moving forward now. How would you articulate that again for me? Now, I've never used that question before on this call. What I'm asking for you guys is clarity. Make sure, and I know new people, the newer you are, you're afraid to ask for clarity. However, the more experienced you are, I mean, your doctor, particularly an experienced doctor, if he's not fully understanding, is that the right hand or left hand you want me to cut off? Well, I don't know. I don't quite understand. I'll just cut one of them off. I'm 50%, right? You want to make sure you get some clarity. So articulate that again, Mayor, for me on what your hesitancy is moving forward.
Well, it's we want to take advantage of the time now that my husband and I are working from home, and we really, you know, our future vision has always been to go back home, and I think now is the right time to do it. But we're just not sure about the market.
Okay, now again, we're going to isolate. So other than not feeling sure, what else has to happen for you to move forward with me today?
Of course, the price. We want to get at least $650,000 for the house. Mind you, that the house is worth about $600,000.
So you want 650,000, right?
Yes.
Is that what you want to sell it for? Is that your expectation of net?
No, that's my expectations of a sales price. I understand we have to pay fees and commissions and whatnot. So 650 is what we would like and our neighbors would like to see as a sold.
So stepping out, let me editorialize just a little bit. Imagine you're an Uber driver and I want to go downtown. Well, maybe the Uber driver would ask you, well, where downtown would you like to go? Because you could be in a big city like Houston or something that has a big downtown. So it's important to get clarity over the seller's expectation if it's going to be the sales price or net. So make a note of that because when in doubt, ask. It's okay. I mean, we're professionals. We have to, we should know these things. I mean, we should ask these things we know. I got it. So then other than, you know, I understand you want to feel comfortable with the timing. You want to get your number, $650,000. Is there anything else that would have to happen to make you feel comfortable moving forward today?
Price. No, I think that's it.
Okay. Now, from a timing standpoint and the price, you've given me a couple of concerns. Which one really is maybe the main concern for you right now?
The price.
Now, what's interesting, and I don't know, are you actually playing the seller, Mayor?
I'm sorry, ask me the question again.
Are you actually attempting to mimic the seller towards you?
I'm giving you exactly what happened last night.
Now, all right, and so here's what I'm learning. If someone's wondering about the timing of the market, and then they want, and he said, well, I want 650, yet the market says it's only 600. I mean, if he can get that kind of number, particularly closer to what he wants, isn't that automatically negate the timing of the market? However, we never assume in sales, we never assume, well, it must be the right hand, let's cut off the right hand. No, we want to ask, gain clarity. So getting the right number is what's important to you, correct? So let me ask you this then. If we were to list the home at $650,000 today, are you prepared to move forward with me and let me go to work?
Yes. Yeah, I think if you can get us that number, okay. Sure.
Now, I may be doing this a little bit different than a lot of people teach. However, you've heard me say this before. I'm going to say it again because repetition is the mother of skill, right? Is that if they have motivation, which he does, which they do, I'm going to go and get the commitment on the listing. And I'll shake hands. All right, Mayor, so $650,000. Now, okay, so I want to give him the what if. Now, because every decision you make, there is a potential downside. So up until this point right now, just compare and contrast, and you could have handled it differently, maybe even better. What was the difference between your conversation with the seller and mine up to that point, Mayor?
Pretty much so, hand in hand. Mine was more of a conversation than asking questions and narrowing it down. So that's
okay. So you see how we kind of got to the same spot just by asking questions.
That's where I was.
Okay. Now,
yes.
Now we still have a seller that's ready to list with us that has unrealistic expectations. Now, again,
yes.
if I've got the listing, that's okay. I mean, all right, now I'm going to go say, so Mayor, let me ask you this question as we get ready to move forward. If it sells for $650,000, you've already acknowledged that that's higher than what most houses in the neighborhood have sold for. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Now, notice I'm not asking him. I could ask him the meat thermometer, although that would be kind of redundant because he's already thinking the market's in his favor. And if you sold it for a higher number, close to 650, now I'm already starting to back him off that number. If you sold it somewhere close to 650, you would win, right?
Everybody would be happy.
And I would win too, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So we can see we're going to work together. However, there's another ingredient we have to consider. You know what that is?
No, what is that?
The golden rule, the market.
All right.
So let me ask you this. What will you do, Mayor, if the market says no to your expectation of 650,000?
Then we won't have to move right away. We'll wait till we get our number.
Now it's getting interesting. I'm glad he said that because many times that's exactly what a seller is going to say. If he would have been a little bit more realistic, he would have said, well, I guess we'll come down. Well, then, okay, then you've got that conversation. So now, so you would then wait until you had your number, right?
Yes.
Now I'm going to open it up to you guys. And it could be, this is a beautiful situation. Mayor, you set this up beautifully. What questions, you guys, you can chat them or say them, come to your mind right now at this point? Everything has to be a question.
When's your timeline? When do you want to move?
All right, there we go. So, all right. So, Mayor, I mean, okay, so you want to get your price. So, when would you like to be in Indiana?
Well, before the end of the year, we have some vacation time that we want to take advantage of. Plus, where the market is right now, we feel that could be a good timing for us. So I would say within the next 2 to 3 months.
Okay. And then what happens if the market says no to your 650 between now and 3 months? Then what?
Really, I mean, we really don't have to go. We will.
Okay. All right. All right. That was a good question. However, he's taken us back to the same point. What's on your mind? What's a good question?
Is there any point of time that you would say that like enough is enough and then you wanted to leave, or you're willing to stay in your house forever until the market is able to appreciate your price?
Okay. Now that's a complex question and a great one. Just the way I would do that, I would ask a simple question first and build on it. I wasn't sure who was speaking. We're on the same track. So, Mayor, you said you're not in any hurry, right?
That is correct, yes.
Would you be willing to wait 6 months?
6 months before we put it on the market? No. Yeah, maybe. I mean, we don't have to.
No. Would you, if we have it on the market, it's going to be listed at 650. Would you be willing to wait 6 months in order to get that number?
Well, I'm not sure. Maybe.
How about a year?
No, because everybody's going to look at those numbers and say, what's wrong with that house? And by the way, that's exactly what they asked me. And I did ask that question. And I took advantage of that answer.
All right. And so, So now you know there's a pain point for him. What would be the next question? There's another pain point you can bring up. I can think of two. Anybody?
What if 3 months from now the market isn't as strong as it is right now, and your home value goes down from what it is today?
Who is that?
It's Billy.
All right, Billy. All right, awesome. So hang on to that question. Where's the other pain point, guys? This may be a little sensitive, so you have to handle it gingerly.
I felt it was pride of ownership and neighborhood comparison.
Okay, so let's go with Billy's question. So Mayor, the market's really been working in your favor as a seller, hadn't it?
It has. Everybody's buying houses like it's, no tomorrow.
And have you heard of the concept that the market moves in cycles?
Of course.
So it's kind of like a roller coaster. You can go up and then there's some downs.
Definitely.
How will you feel while you're waiting on 650, the market makes a change and then 600 is no longer in play? You might have to sell it for 550. How would that make you feel?
Oh, at that point, we won't even sell.
Okay. By the way, how old's your dad?
They're in their 80s. Mom and dad are in their 80s.
That's the question you would have to ask.
Brilliant.
So let's evaluate this basically. So are you saying then that the market will give you top dollar right now more than it's probably ever given you before, and yet that's not enough?
Nice.
What will you, how can we do better than top dollar, Mayor? So, all right, so you see where we went, and it was just a series of questions. Tell us the end. What did they do? What did you list it at?
625.
All right. So you were able to get them down halfway, right?
Yes.
Nice job.
Thank you.
Did you go over the 3 outcomes?
With the fishing analogy?
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Man, I'm so pleased.
And that's exactly how I got to 6.25.
So then what happens now? What happens when you go back in a week and it's your outcome number 1? Then what?
And then they're ready mentally, I believe, that they're ready to come down to where they need to be.
You see, at some point, I'm pulling up my slides and I'll put a bow on it. I was very careful how I had to go there. What I really wanted to ask is that how would you, if your dad calls you and says, hey, son, when you moving? I wouldn't say this, however, this is the essence of it. Dad, getting more money for my home is more important than me spending, golden years with you. Now, I would never say that. However, somehow you have to help them understand. And it's always that way, you guys, with motivation. Because when they say yes to one thing, they're saying no to the other. And what I attempted to do was get them to, you're going to have the best time in the history of the planet to sell your home. And you still want more? Sometimes just by asking a question like that, it makes them think. Remember, logic makes them think, emotion makes them act. So let me just pull up a couple slides here because a couple things came up that I want to talk about. And if you have anything you want to talk about, just pipe in. So there we go. It is the 6th. Tuesdays and Thursdays. So we'll be on Thursdays and we'll give you plenty of notice. I'm just going to let you know the week of October 20th, Bold starts. And if you're with Keller Williams, you should be signing up for Bold because it's it works on your mindset. And during that week and over the next 4 weeks, I'm going to go to 1 day a week. And I don't know which one to do, Monday or Wednesday. So, I just cannot, because I'm a MAPS Bold coach, I can't conflict with Bold. So we're good all the way through the 3rd week of October. So there'll be a class at 1 o'clock on Thursday. We'll keep working on some things. If you haven't already, you've got some new people on the call. Make sure you go to Denny Delivers YouTube, subscribe, because these calls are all recorded. You can go back and listen. Add it to your playlist, play it at night while you're sleeping. It's better than listening to the waves crash the beach. Probably would put you to sleep too, really good. Next, I've got more and more free stuff. If you go to Denny Grimes Mastermind, I've got my scripts, the market of the moment. I've got my 3 outcome sheets there. So make sure you go there if you want any of the free stuff. All right. I had a great email from somebody in my marketplace. And, you know, some of us have had to be competing with more of the discount brokers in some of the larger metropolitan areas, you know, like my wife's in Phoenix, and they have almost everything there. You got the iBuyers, the Zillows, you've got the Purple Bricks and the Red Doors and all kinds of different things from discount brokers. So the question came from a couple of different angles. So I'm gonna cover this from a basic level that, you know, if somebody is in your marketplace, and it really, if they're not, it's just a question of time before somebody comes in your marketplace and their business model is to basically discount. I'm not talking about they charge 5 or 6% and they discount it to get the listing. I'm talking about their business model is a discount. One way, and I don't know if the gentleman's on, if Gary's on, however, one way you can insulate your business, and again, another reason why you should be taken bold, is that you don't have to worry about people that are basically in your database or people that you're in constant contact with. We should never lose, you know, technically, we should never lose a past customer, a referral. And if we have that relationship, let me tell you something, relationship doesn't always trump dollars. Relationship will give you the opportunity to have a conversation in which you can sell your value proposition. Now listen, let's just be pragmatic here for a moment. When we go and I needed batteries, my wife's teaching me that don't go to the store, just go to Amazon. So I needed clothes hangers or whatever, and I go to Amazon. Everything, I'm learning everything is Amazon. Don't you shop for prices? I mean, everyone is kind of price conscious. And particularly when you're dealing with a homogeneous product, you're looking at prices. So I pulled up batteries, and they came in Duracell came up, and Eveready, I think, or whatever. And then Amazon had their own brand. Now, I learned as a marketing student in my undergraduate work that many times the product in the jar, whether it be store labeled or private labeled, like Skippy's peanut butter or Publix or Safeway's peanut butter, is coming from the same machine. Sometimes it's not. A lot of that is branding, so you pay more for a brand, right? Now, what do you think I did? Do you think that, let me just go off here for a second. Do you think I bought the Amazon batteries? They were right next to the Evereadys or Duracells, and they were maybe $2 cheaper. And you know what I did? I thought, well, what's a battery? Who cares? It's not a major life-changing decision. I did something that I'm starting to train myself to do. I looked at the reviews. So point number one, you guys, is this. If you're not conscious about making sure that you're getting positive reviews on the 4 major type of review sites, the Zillows, the Realtor.coms, the Yelp, and I can't think of somebody can type in the chat what the 4th one is. I forget it right this second. That is going to help people at least have the opportunity for you to have a conversation. Remember, your database will give you that opportunity. In fact, many times they won't even talk to anybody else. However, if they do, we have to be able to articulate our value proposition. So one way you can start to grow your business through your lead generation and whatever is make sure when the person who's never heard of you before finds you online, there's some reviews there to give you some muscle. Does that make sense? All right. We have a program going on right now that we had a contest, and the winner, one of our younger agents, was able to pull in 20 or 20 some different reviews and recommendations. So now we're in a process of getting those onto those sites. So that's very important. Secondly, selling a house is not like buying peanut butter. And you think about it just for a little bit. Think about something you might go through. Like, for example, surgery. You might have a cataract, or you may want LASIK surgery. I don't know, in my area, I don't see the ophthalmologists, I'm sorry, advertising discount LASIK. That probably is in some markets. However, are we conditioned typically to make major decisions solely based on price? Now remember, when it's homogeneous, price is probably king. Part of the issue that's happened in our industry is there's a segment of consumers that think we're homogeneous. And what we have to do is make sure we're always differentiating, what the services we provide. So I'm going to go back to this script here just a little bit, and let's see if we can cover this. This is different than if someone is discounting their commission, and there's ways that we can handle that. We've handled it on this program. This is one that I have never had to really go up against for a while. We did have a discount broker here in town that went out the last time the market shifted, and we had to go up. They charged a flat fee listing. So that one I'm used to. So here's the comment. I just talked to a firm and they only charge 4% total. Why shouldn't I go with them? So does anybody have this type of competition in their marketplace? Would you like to share, maybe if you've had this come up, how you've addressed it? And I guess I'm going to ask you, did you do it via questions? And if you didn't, we can help you develop a question-based. I can take a stab at it. However, I don't always like to do all the talking here. So who has had to deal with this, and how have you addressed it? Anybody?
I had that also last night, and they were up against the discounted commission where the listing agent was going to give them a 5% commission. And my response to that was, are you familiar? Do you know what I do to sell homes?
No.
And she says, no.
Hang on, I'll role play with you. No.
No. Well, let me share with you what I do. I'll share with you the plan that I do, and here are the things that we address. And then I went through my listing presentation. And at the end of my listing presentation, with example.
Hang on.
Go ahead.
Hang on. I want to do a role play here, okay? We're not going to go through everything. Now, my question is, okay, so that sounded like a statement, and then you went into your presentation, right?
Yeah, well, the answer was no, we're not familiar. And I said, okay, let me share with you. And they did. And they both sat down, husband and wife. And it was mostly the wife talking, but nonetheless, go ahead.
Okay. So then you were able to get them to sign the listing at your fee?
Yes.
Okay. So awesome. Good job. And as you think back on it, what I want folks to recognize is, okay, it's, let's see if we can do it question-based, not that you didn't. Who would like to role play with me? If I know Mayor's been very, very helpful this time, and I want to spread it around. No one else, Mayor, you can do it. Who would like to role play with me as a seller that's talked to a 4%?
I'll do it.
And who is that?
Eli.
Eli, how are you doing?
Good. How about yourself?
Now, is that your background noise, though?
Yeah, there's a little bit of background noise here. So if you guys hear that loudly, then I'm not going to be able to do it.
Yeah, it's probably going to be a little distracting. So thanks for volunteering. So that's okay. Mayor, why don't you stay with me?
Sure.
So you said you talked to a firm that said they do it for 4% total?
5%.
Well, okay. Let's use the, all right, it doesn't really matter. Can we use the 4%? Because that's the one that came in, and that's the one I had on the slide. So just pretend it's 4, not 5.
4%? Yes, you got it.
So, all right. So let me ask you then, other than that, is there any other reason why you wouldn't do business with me?
No, they're willing to basically put money back in my pocket.
Oh, you mean they're going to pay you?
Well, from where you stand, you're at 6% and they're at 4%. That's 2% of 600,000, 600 plus thousand. That's $12,000 difference.
Ah, yeah, I understand that math, the way that math works. Let me ask you this though: if they sell it for $20,000 less than I sell it for, is that a net gain for you or a net loss?
Well, I'm not sure.
Well, do you
Can you
want
tell
to
me more?
would you want to do the math on that?
Sure, let's do it together.
All right, so here we go. Let's just, let's say it's $10,000. You think all real? Here's the question you guys got to write down. We've got to get away from homogeneous. Do you think all real estate agents are the same?
No, I'm sure you guys are not.
Well, are all doctors the same?
They're not.
Are all hairstylists the same?
They're not.
Right. I mean, you can go to a cut hut for 20 bucks, right? Or, and my wife wouldn't go to something like that. She'll pay $300 because, you know what they pay for? They pay for results. So let's assume that the other agent, because their model is that basically they're going to discount, which means they're volume based. They don't make as much on a particular house. They've got to make it up on volume. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And when someone goes fast, does this quality sometimes suffer?
Always.
Then therefore, do you want someone that basically on your side representing your transaction, do you want them to feel like they're under the gun where they have to sell the house faster than you want it sold?
Well, I think they'll sell it fast because I want it sold fast, and that's the number that we wanted.
Well, okay. I guess the question I'm asking though is if they have a higher motivation to sell it than you, do you think they may actually be rooting, encourage you to take an offer less than what you might get if you had it on a few more days? Maybe,
but I'm still going to make the decision.
I got it. So is it possible though, because the skill level, negotiation level, and maybe interest in the client level could be different, is it possible one agent can sell it for more than the other agent?
Absolutely.
So in my example, if you sold it for $10,000 less than what I do, so let's see, I don't know if that would work because it's 6. Let's go back to 20. I'm doing this on the fly, right? So sure. That would be 580,000. And at 4% is 23.2, right? You write that number down, 23.2. And 580 at 6%. Oops. Is 34.8 and 23.2. $11,600 you're saving in commission. However, you had to pay $20,000 to get the $11,600. Was that a good decision?
I suppose not.
And my only question, Mayor, is this. If I can demonstrate to you that I can put more money in your pocket than a discount broker, would you be prepared to move forward with me?
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to stop. Any other comments on that? Again, I saw the email and I was ready for this role play. Any comments, good or bad? Maybe you hated it. I think that is the way that I structure my questions is that I want to get them to some sort of logical point. Number one, really there's 3 points here. Number one, real estate agents aren't homogeneous. If they think that's the case, then you've got some more wood to chop. He went along. And then the second point was, selling fast doesn't mean selling good. Anything you do quickly, quality may suffer. And it's not about what you pay, it's about what you net. And so at that point in time, then your presentation would have to do the heavy lifting, and you would then show them interactively and ask the questions, you know, and convince them that you had a better value proposition. And there's ways to do that. And the obvious ones would be, number one, you know, what is that other agent co-broking? If they're co-broking 2% and you're co-broking more than that, can you see how that might put your home at a disadvantage, etc.? So that's kind of the way I would handle that. Is there any discussions around that whatsoever from you guys online?
That's considering that the broker is splitting the 2 and 2%. If it's like a 5% where the guy says, hey, listen, I'll take 2% and I'll give the buyer's agent 3%. So you know that you're getting a solid buyer's representative. Like the agent will come, that it won't be, you know, someone that's just throwing numbers at us so that they get the house sold for 2%. Does that change the conversation at all?
Yeah, I think it does. Most likely, though, I mean, as many times as I've gone through this, many times when the real estate, the sellers know what the real estate fee is. They don't know the breakdown of it. Because many times when an agent says, oh, the seller said, hey, if you'll discount your fee at 1 point, I'll do it. They say, okay. Now you're the next one in the interview, and they say, well, they're going to do it for 1% less. And you ask them, oh, is that 1% coming off the listing side or the buying side or both? 9.5 times out of 10, they say, well, he didn't really tell me, or she didn't tell me. So we can take that for a moment because it does add a different conversation, because now you can say, well, the buyers are getting the same. So now the listing agent basically is going to take less money. I think then you might have to have a conversation like this. And was that, who was that again?
That was me.
Eli. Yeah. Eli, I got it. So let me ask you. So if we were, other than the commission, is there any other reason you wouldn't do business with me right now?
No.
All right. So if I can give the buyer's agent 3%, and I gave you a better deal than the listing agent did, 2%, then you would hire me?
That you would give me a better deal than the 2%, meaning that you would give me less than 5%?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
You'd hire me, right?
Yes.
Now I've got him in the trap. Does anybody know where I'm going next?
If I can get you more money?
Yes.
But what if you can't?
Well,
what if the price is already we're already asking for a high price?
I got that. Here's the thing. So Eli, so yes, you're going down the right track. And was that Jim or who else? Somebody's going to say something else. What were you going to say? You might be on the same track too.
Well,
so go ahead. Is it Jim?
Yeah. I would just say, as far as the listing agent, they're willing to take 2% instead of the going 3%. That tells you right up front that they're underpricing their net worth and your net worth at the same time without any argument. So my question is to you, wouldn't you want a strong negotiator on your side that can not only negotiate their own commission, but the sales price of your house?
Yeah, but Jim, he didn't cut it. That's his normal model. He didn't discount it. That's just what he normally charges. It's kind of like, you know, you go to Costco, you get 50 gallons of pickles, you save some money. So that doesn't work because he didn't negotiate his fee. Now that would work if somebody reduced their fee, and that's a great strategy. My question to Eli would be this. So your listings agent's at 2%, you're going to pay 3%. So here's the thing. What if I did it for free? Would you hire me? That's how I would state it. Now, Eli, you were tracking with me on my logic. However, I like to sometimes drop bombs on people and make them like shake their head and say, what do you mean free?
Yeah. What do you mean free?
Yeah, exactly. Well, so here's the thing. If I can demonstrate to you that I can put more money in your pocket than you're paying me, am I in essence working for free?
Yes.
Now I've got him listening. Now you still have to have the dog and pony. You still have to go through that. And I can do that. And I think I've done some on the calls before. I've done that. And I can demonstrate that. For example, and again, you pushed back on me, Eli. You said, well, you know, I'm going to be aggressive and overprice it. Right? And you think you're going to trap me. No way. So I understand that. So Eli, let me ask you this. When the market says no at your aggressive number, what are you going to do next?
I'm gonna if I have to drop the price, then I have to drop the price. If I'm a seller that's not in a rush, then I probably won't drop the price right now.
All right. And would you want to know the potential side effects from each of those decisions?
Well, if I wait, there's no telling what's going to happen. If I do drop the price now, I'm sure I'll get more offers. If I get more offers, there's a chance that I'll actually end up walking away with more money because we'll get into a bidding war.
All right. So let me ask you, when people go to an auction, are they expected to pay more than it's worth or less than it's worth?
They expect to pay less.
Yet in your case, you're expecting more than it's worth because people are making bids on it.
Well, isn't there a shortage in houses now in the market?
Yes. However, that doesn't mean people have their stupid money out there. So if you ask too much and the market says no, you're going to still own the house, right?
Right.
So how come no one's making an offer on it then?
Because it's overpriced. So if I were to bring that price down a little bit, then how would I be netting more money if this other agent told me he's going to list it at the price that I requested, $650,000? How are you going to be netting me more money on my house if we're bringing down the price and I'm paying you 6%?
What do you think all real estate agents are the same?
I do not.
All doctors aren't the same. Now you've heard this before. I'm using the same script, right? Now here is what I want you to know. Yes, when the market says no, yet you've learned, I'm going to switch analogies for you. You're drilling for oil. Oil's not where your bid is. And every price point from there up, you've eliminated. So you're going to have to drop the bid. Is it possible an agent that doesn't understand the market and the nuances like we do may encourage you to drop it too far?
I see what you did.
Because
okay.
You guys, I'm going to go back to my drawing. Remember point A, point B, top dollar?
Right.
And if they drop it too far, particularly if they're more motivated to sell your house fast than you are, is it possible you could be leaving money on the table greater than 1 or 2%?
Well, this guy has a lot of experience. I think I trust him. He's been in the business for many years.
I got it. And you're welcome to go that way. However, is your trust for him worth 20 grand to you?
No.
Anyway, I mean, I don't want to speak bad about anybody. And I tell you what, would you trust me to market your home for a week?
Yeah, I would.
And if you're unhappy anytime during the week, just let me know and you can fire me. If you're happy, would you go another week?
Yeah, I mean, I hope we already have offers within this week, but
All
right. If I saw progress, then yeah. But can you do that with someone? Put them on a week by week contract?
My contract is only a week.
1 week at a time, listing contract.
What'd you say, Eli?
Your listing contract is 1 week?
Yeah.
So if no offers come in during that week, your contract is terminated?
No, they can just fire me if they're unhappy within a week. And if they're unhappy, I have 7 days to fix it. And if I can't fix it, I'll rip up the contract. So it is technically it's week to week. We don't do a new contract every week. I do stipulate in the cancellation agreement, watch this, lack of showings is not a reason to cancel the contract. Why? Because of the 3 outcomes. We don't control showings, do we?
So what is a reason for them to cancel? If they don't like the service you're providing or they don't agree with the way that you're listing their house, then they're allowed to fire you. No issues.
Yep, I can't correct it. And, you know, and believe me, I just had a seller with another firm here in town that said that only would withdraw them, which means it was still in the MLS as, quote, an active listing, not active. It just was withdrawn. No one else could talk to them. And that agent would not let that seller out, no way, no how, and charged us a 35% referral fee to let the seller out of the contract.
Wow. I mean, that's a pretty good value proposition if you're telling them. And you just put this onto your listing agreement, basically. Yes,
you guys, and I'm in, you know, I know you might have to talk to your broker, your team leader or whatever about your value proposition. However, our team's value proposition is this. I have a flexible commission plan. It's not a discount, it's flexible. It's 2 or 6%. And again, as you know, there's no standard commission. That's just our team's policy. We have a hassle-free listing they can cancel anytime. We have a love it or leave it program that if we sell the house to a buyer and the buyer is unhappy within a year, we'll sell it for that buyer free. And I have a guaranteed sale program that basically if I can't sell it, I'll buy it.
How long is that agreement for?
Generally, it's negotiable. Generally, it's 180 days. And we can talk about that at another time. However, the issue is this. Any good product, brand name, Sony, you know, Cadillac, you name it, they're going to stand behind their product and take all the risk out. And so I'm encouraging you guys to make sure you hone your value proposition and you can articulate it. And going back to Mayor, and I think going back to the original conversation, I'm proud of you that I don't know that you came up with a number. You know, you might have suggested the 625. However, remember, as we go through these conversations, it's about setting expectations and not setting prices. So anybody else on the call have a comment? We have a few minutes, so I've got a couple other things we can roll through. However, I'm more concerned what's going on in your mind. If you want to stay at a certain point and drill down or throw me a curveball, I'm okay with that because that's how this class is going to be beneficial. I don't have a program. I mean, I have stuff in case you guys have nothing to say. However, I'm more interested in what you're thinking.
Going back to your role play with Mayor, you told him if I can demonstrate you that I'll get you more money. That was the punchline. So now, if he goes back to you and tells you, Danny, how can you demonstrate that? Would you show him just your stats that you're getting higher list to sale ratio than other brokers, or what else could you show him?
No, I don't really believe, David, in list to sales ratios. Because are you measuring that? Well, here's the thing. I'm saying that again, stop it. If I were a broker and on my value proposition is I net sellers 101% of listing price. That's my list price to sales price ratio. Does that make me a good broker or not?
If others,
it depends.
Yeah.
All right, so the market average is 97.8, and you're at 101%. Are you a better broker?
You are. You're getting them more money, aren't you?
Well, maybe. However, numbers aren't what they seem to be. Maybe you're listing the property too low. Mm-hmm. Is it possible your listing prices are too aggressive for the buyer? I mean, they're low. Therefore, your sales price to list price is, or list to sale, I should say, is higher than somebody who's at 98%. You ever think of that?
I hear you.
Question? So all the people that talk about this understand it's not necessarily thump your chest time. So I don't use that. However, David asked a really good question. Now that you perked the seller's interest, okay, how can you demonstrate you can get more money? Well, okay, let's go through some ways that we can do that. Number one, I would show them my graph. And I didn't bring it. I have it right here. Hang on. I'm never far away from this. This is live TV, guys. Let's see. You can see that. This is in front of the seller whenever I meet with them. And so, yes, if you go back to the conversation we're having that Eli was talking about, he wanted to be over aggressive, and if it didn't sell, how much would he come down? I would demonstrate to you, Eli, for example, that, you know, we're looking at not only your home. The seller is only evaluating the activity that he sees maybe happening online or his neighbor's house or the showings on his house or her house. However, Eli, I'm evaluating market data from many different zip codes. And for example, can you imagine if I'm seeing other things happen in other zip codes and you're quiet, do you think that gives me feedback on what we should be doing?
Yeah, but would you say that each individual neighborhood is its own sort of rules or systems and that will make it sell faster or slower?
Well, they're all factors. Like, for example, have you ever flown an airplane, and when you walk on, you take a look to the left and you see the cockpit of an airliner? Have you ever seen one or a picture of one?
Yeah, I think I was in one as a kid.
Do they have one gauge or many gauges?
Many.
Therefore, I'm like the pilot. I'm watching many gauges that all have nuances to what may be happening here. Like, for example, if maybe the market is silent. You know, for example, we just had the president go to the hospital, and things like that can cause a tremor in the marketplace, right? Or there could be something else that happens. Do you think that you would want your agent to understand those nuances before you overreact? So you see where I'm going with that. I mean, even the analogy of the airplane in many gauges, a lot of agents only evaluate what's going on with their listings. I track the market as a whole. Eli, let me ask you, do you think if a lot of buyers are coming from Buffalo, New York, would you want your agent to know what's going on in Buffalo?
Yes.
We track that. And you think those types of things, the many gauges, may add millimeters, maybe 1% or 2% to the bottom line on average?
Yes, for sure.
So that's what now, okay, so what's some other things? Well, if you have a team, leverage it. If you have a strong office in that area, leverage it. If you have a great open house program, leverage it. If you have a backlog of buyers that basically are in a holding pattern waiting on a home, and we do in this marketplace, leverage that. Let them know, here are the things that I'm going to be doing. Here's my team. Here's my office. Here's what we do. Maybe have some bullet points, and then you say, like, for example, you think that, so I have a team, and you think that when a buyer calls on a home, it's important that the team responds quickly.
Yeah, very important.
Well, while I'm having a conversation with you, I have 35 or 40 listings out there. I've got someone answering the phones or the emails or the Zillow calls on those listings. Do you think my sellers appreciate that?
Yeah, for sure.
And I'm going to walk them down that. And speed is important. And then your skill in negotiation, what Jim brought up. So, David, you bring up a good point. At some point in time, you're going to have to show them how you win. And write this down, you guys. You guys win by inches. This is not Secretariat, winning by 33 lengths. Golf tournaments are won by a stroke or two. Horse races are won by a nose or two. NASCAR are won by milliseconds. The Giants lose by a lot of points. Okay, that's different. However, in most professional sports,
I'm from New York, so that was hurtful.
I didn't pick on the Saints, did I? I don't think my Saints guy's here. So, what else? What else would you guys like to talk about on this?
I got one more over here. When you have an overpriced listing and you go back with this outcome, 3 outcome sheet, you go back to the seller, trying to readjust, and he keeps telling you, let them make an offer. You know, let them make an offer. If you want to make an offer, they can always make an offer. How could you convince the seller? What's the flaw in this argument, especially in the $1 million range when it's overpriced by 1 million or $500,000? You know, you have competitive homes on the market, and they keep telling you always, if they want to buy this house, just, you know, they can always make an offer.
Right. So you're an advanced pupil, David. So we're going to get rid of the terminology, convince them. I don't even believe in that. I believe we have to do a good job of asking questions they convince themselves. So there's 2 things I think about on that, and I think it's an excellent question. I can give you the technical answer that I'm going to give you. Let me tell you why that doesn't happen in this market. In ancient days in real estate, before the internet, real estate shopping was a lot of work. You couldn't wake up in the morning and have some sort of smart little algorithm throw into a neat little pile of 4 new listings that hit that zip code overnight that you might want to consider. You had to literally call your agent, go through the small print on the classified, wait for the Sunday paper. Are you getting my drift? Some of you guys don't remember black and white TVs with rabbit ears, and it only got 3 channels, and if you wanted to change it, you literally had to get up and turn a knob. Does anybody remember that? I do. The internet has made home shopping a whole lot easier, meaning you set up your portal, your criteria, you wake up, it's there. And what that's done from a buyer standpoint, it's gone from normally a buyer, because it's a lot of work, in the olden days, would find a house that, and I'm making up a number, that met 80% of their criteria. Well, they're plumb tired. They want to keep doing it. And, you know, it is overpriced. However, it's hitting their criteria. They would rather attempt to negotiate a price, at least make an offer to an unrealistic seller, versus go back and keep looking for a house. It's a lot of work. The internet has taken the work out of it. You wake up, you look at them, no. Look at them, no. Oh, let's go look at that or whatever. And
instant gratification.
I'm sorry?
Instant gratification is what it's about.
Well, it is really, because now the house has to come a whole lot closer to perfect, or if it's in that, you know, if it meets the criteria and the seller's too unrealistic, it's a pain pleasure. It's easier to wait on a new house coming in tomorrow than going through the pain and the hassle of negotiating with an overpriced seller. Does that make sense?
So are you saying they're going to miss that number completely because they're setting their criteria lower now than what he's asking?
I'm only telling you why overpriced listings don't get offers anymore, because the buyers, you know, it's easier to wait on the new listing than negotiate with an unrealistic seller. It wasn't that way back in the old days. That's why it happens. Now, here's your conversation with the seller, David. Well, we'll just wait till somebody makes an offer. Okay, we can do that. Go back to the same conversation we had. You want to be in Indiana in 3 months. How long are you, role play with me, David, how long are you willing to wait?
I'll wait 6 months.
Okay, how about a year?
I'll wait a year.
How about 2?
No, I don't want to wait 2 years.
Okay, so somewhere between a year or 2, then you're really ready to cry uncle, right?
Right.
And let me ask you this, inside that 1 year, 12 to 24 months, what's the market conditions look like?
We don't know. We don't know what's going to be.
So right now you're saying you're sitting you're watching someone at a table in Las Vegas, and every time they deal that set of cards, they're getting more chips and more chips and more chips. At what point do you think that person should leave the table because you know if they play one hand too many, the chips are gone?
That's a great question.
Now, you know, you taught me to ask that differently.
Yeah, well, that's a good analogy.
Well, it is. Isn't that what's going on?
Yeah, it is.
Sellers are saying one more roll, one more roll, one more roll.
Right.
And so you guys have to lay that because that is so possible. So what I did is it's classic. What did I do? He said, wait 6 months. I got it. All right. Well, what if it doesn't happen in 6 months? How about a year? Sometimes sellers would say basically, well, you know, I'll wait till I can get that number. So that means if it never happens, you will never move. Well, I thought you said you wanted to be in Indiana to spend time with your father. I mean, he's 84.
Denny, if I could check something here, I mean, I know every market across the country is different, but Phoenix is overall a pretty hot market, as you well know. And as of yesterday, according to Cromford report, ever since the 1st of July, every week, and then actually it's done daily as an average, but we're averaging 1,000 price decreases a day now on roughly 7,500 listings at any given time. And like I said, that's went up every week since the 1st of July.
Well, Al, that's really an interesting telltale. I mean, you're looking at, you know, I find that, you know, there's ways to kind of look at advanced tremors. You know, sometimes you feel the earth shake before the earth shakes. And that's probably an interesting indicator there. That's worth watching. In Florida and the Gulf Coast, maybe up even New York, because you guys get storms, they watch the barometric pressure. And because that, as it goes from high to low, low is bad weather. And when you have that disturbance in the low pressure area, they're always talking about watching the low pressure. And you know what? Many times it never develops. Al, that may not be anything. However, the fact you're watching it is like we would watch the barometer. That's the great example, you guys, of watching the gauges. And I should have thought of that. Like a pilot, you think it'd be helpful, Eli, if basically we start to sense the market changing that we have, and we can let you know first so you can get off the Titanic before it sails. Would that be worth 1% or 2%?
Yeah, but there is no way to really know when it's going to start tipping downwards, is there?
No, there isn't. I mean, Gary talks about it, and people talk about catching a falling knife, which I never quite understood that. I like the slinky. You know, when the slinky's going down the stairs, the only way to catch it is get ahead of it or to wait till it bottom. The interesting thing is this, you guys, and I'll let you go because we're right at time. Those people that have lived in the market that's changed before, as soon as it has breath, boom, the market's done. There's no slowdown. It's sudden stop. Buyers now sense every day they wait, they're saving money. What do buyers do?
They'll hold up for a month.
No, they'll hold up more than that. And the other thing is sellers will be in denial for a period of time. When the market crashed, you in Phoenix know about it. We know about it here in Fort Myers. It took sellers 2.5 years to finally get into reality. This isn't coming back. So you guys enjoy it now, and you've got sellers sitting on the edge thinking they're going to have one more roll of the dice and they're going to get some more chips. When that market turns, the lights in the casino are going off. So you guys are awesome. We'll see you Thursday. Be careful out there. If anybody had an aha, give me one. Give me some love.
Thank you, Denny.
You're welcome, Jim. Did I say anything worthwhile?
Yes, thank you.
A bunch.
You guys are awesome. See ya.
Thanks. Thank you.
Thanks, Danny. Awesome.
Thank you.